Sagittarius, the boundless seeker spirit, soaring on the arrow of truth. Listen closely. Tomorrow, August 23rd, a hidden passage begins to shift open, and what it reveals will move something deep inside you, not because it brings pain, but because it finally lets something go, something you've been holding so tightly in silence. It became part of your weight. The moment is precise, chosen by forces that see you more clearly than you see yourself. You didn't stumble across this video by chance. Your inner knowing brought you here because you're ready for something wider, more authentic, and more true than you dared to expect. Maybe it was a dream that clung to you all morning, a strange pulse in your chest, or that quiet voice that said, "Look closer." Whatever led you, trust it. You are not late. You are exactly where you were meant to arrive. This is a space held for those who feel the stir beneath the surface, where messages come like wind across an open plain, subtle but impossible to ignore. Today, I'm not just interpreting cards. I'm reading the vibrations echoing inside your energetic field, signals that have been humming quietly, waiting for you to slow down enough to finally hear. And tomorrow, August 23rd, is far from ordinary. It's a turning point woven directly into your path, marked by celestial patterns that align with astonishing precision. The cards have spoken, and what they carry is nothing short of life-altering. This message is a call not just to hear, but to feel, to yield, to allow healing to settle where you once held resistance. The star, the wheel of fortune, and the Eight of Cups have appeared not as symbols, but as mirrors of what is already unfolding within you. They don't offer vague promises. They echo the quiet decision you've been circling, to walk away from what no longer feeds your spirit, and to meet the shift already blooming on the horizon. Let me ask you something. What if all the restlessness, all the invisible imbalance you've lived through was never a delay, but a preparation for one powerful moment of flight? And what if that moment arrives tomorrow? Just pause with me, breathe deep. This isn't meant for your logic. It's meant for the voice within your chest, the one that's been whispering beneath every doubt. Before we go further, thank you for being here, for showing up, for every quiet gesture of support, every time you've paused to listen, every like, every shared word, every thoughtful comment. These are not overlooked. You are part of the pulse that keeps this space alive. And now, if you feel that resonance rising in you, ground it by leaving a comment below. Speak it out loud. I'm ready for the truth and the blessings that are coming my way. Or simply tell me what brought you here today. Was it intuition, a prayer you whispered and forgot, a gentle nudge from something unseen? Because by the end of this video, you may begin to understand why this timing is no coincidence. What's coming is sacred. It may shake you. It would transform you. So stay with me. Let your heart stay open, because what's about to be revealed feels nothing short of a miracle. When three cards come together like this, the star, the wheel, the Eight of Cups, it's not just a message, it's a quiet invitation from the cosmos itself. A soft yet undeniable reminder that what's unfolding in your life is not random and never was. What you're moving through right now, Sagittarius, isn't just a string of moments passing by. It's a thread in a much deeper tapestry, one designed with care, pulling you into a chapter that was always meant to bring clarity, healing, and a return to what truly matters. The star doesn't show up first by chance. After giving so much of your unbridled energy and optimism to paths that pulled you away from your deepest knowing, it arrives like a cool, vast sky. It doesn't sweep in with grand declarations or flashbulb miracles. No, its gift is quieter but more sacred restoration. It speaks to the kind of peace that sinks into your body slowly in the moments when you stop chasing the next horizon and just allow yourself to rest. It invites you to stop striving and start receiving, to stop explaining and start breathing. Its light is not a command, it's a balm, a return to truth that doesn't demand anything of you but presence. Then, without waiting for your readiness, the wheel begins to shift. Not because you pushed it, but because life has decided it's time. Destiny doesn't always knock politely. Seeker, and sometimes the most important changes happen when we feel least prepared. A call that alters your path, a conversation that echoes louder than expected, A moment of truth you didn't plan for but can't ignore. These aren't disruptions. They are redirection, pieces moving in a pattern that hasn't fully revealed itself yet. Now, astrologically speaking, August 23rd carries a rare alignment. Jupiter, your ruling planet in its final days of a powerful trine with the North Node. It's not about explosions of change, it's about philosophical clarity that comes through reflection, conversations that clarify, and insight that reshapes your understanding. It's that moment when what you've been wrestling with in silence becomes clear in a single sentence. Doors may not swing open dramatically, but you recognize them all the same. The Eight of Cups, perhaps the most vulnerable card of the three, brings you to the edge of an emotional cliff, the kind where leaving isn't the hard part. Knowing you're allowed to is for someone like you, Sagittarius, who anchors deeply into belief and freedom. Walking away can feel like abandoning a quest, but when a situation starts to cost you your optimism or your ability to expand, choosing yourself isn't selfish, it's divine direction. The Eight of Cups asks you not to abandon faith, but to redefine what faith feels like when it actually fuels your next journey. You're not turning your back, you're turning inward. And there's a sacred difference in that choice. This message echoes in the numbers circling your life right now. 9 calls something to completion. 4 steadies the ground beneath your next step. And 1 cracks open a beginning. These aren't just digits. They're living frequencies mapping the quiet rhythm of release, rebuild, renew. You're somewhere in the in-between. And that's exactly where your soul is supposed to be. If you've been waking with a flicker of impatience for the next step, if you felt an urge to not only clear out your mental spaces, but also conversations and beliefs that no longer fit, know this. You're already in motion. You haven't fallen behind. You're not unraveling. You're in a sacred pause where the old shape of you is giving way to something more expansive. Transitions can be chaotic, but that doesn't make them any less divine. In these tender stretches, I always return to something simple. Grace isn't something you earn, it arrives. Just like the dawn spills light across your windows without asking, just like the tide reaches for the shore with no request from you, so too are blessings reaching toward you now. And if your footing feels shaky, if life has gone quiet in places where you used to hear noise, trust that something sacred is being rearranged beneath the surface. You don't have to see every piece right now. You're not meant to. Your only task is to keep choosing this path, to keep moving forward. Even if the next step trembles beneath you, because this very space you're standing in is where the transformation begins. Some moments don't come to break you. They arrive to set you free. Sagittarius, what's arriving tomorrow isn't loss, it's release. The tears you may feel rising won't come from sorrow, but from the quiet unraveling that happens when a limiting view of the future finally begins to lift. It's that moment your shoulders lower, your breath deepens, and you realize you're no longer resisting the shift that's been gently circling you for some time now. Not because someone rushed in to save you, but because you're finally letting yourself soften into the change that's been waiting. You might receive a message, a call, or an unexpected invitation, something that seems ordinary, even easy to miss. But something in your body will stir like the pull of a distant star or the sudden rush of insight on an open road. It could be the return of a voice from your past, someone whose presence still echoes, or it might be a stranger who feels oddly known, like they've been walking toward you in parallel all along. No matter the form, it won't be random. It will be timing disguised as coincidence, grace wrapped in surprise. And maybe Sagittarius, that's the deeper gift. Not that everything suddenly smooths itself out, but that you finally stopped clinging to things that were never meant to slow you down. You've spent so much time holding steady, trying to maintain calm and shifting ground. But balance doesn't live in stillness. It lives in your ability to sense when the narrative no longer holds, and to move with the change instead of fighting for the old story. There comes a time when willpower alone won't carry you. And for you, that moment has arrived. You've been resilient, quietly strong in ways few have seen. Always the one others rely on the philosophical anchor when storms move in. But holding it all together doesn't have to be your only role. This is the shift. The sacred mirror here isn't in the hardship, but in the trust you're learning to give yourself. Think of the story of Job, not rewarded for suffering, but for staying rooted through what he couldn't understand. He didn't escape the loss, but he allowed something greater to move through him, and in doing so, his life bloomed again. So if tomorrow brings a wave not of chaos, but of emotion, let it rise without shame. Let it move through you like clear spring water spilling into cracked earth. That's how your body says it's safe now. Safe to hope again. Safe to feel without guarding. Safe to begin without rushing. This isn't a time to fix anything. It's a time to receive, to trust that what's ahead doesn't require you to rebuild alone, but to believe that you won't be walking it alone anymore. Because life, like any wise rhythm, arrives in its own time. Not when your plans say you're ready, but when your soul finally is. So breathe, then breathe again. You didn't find this moment through chance. You found it by alignment with your higher truth. And now with this new doorway appearing, all that's asked of you is to show up honestly. No mask, no performance, just presence. What's coming might take you by surprise, only because it's been looking for you longer than you've been looking for it. And now, you're steady enough to let it in. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is to let go. Not out of defiance, not in anger, but with quiet, grounded clarity. The Eight of Cups never arrives to shame you. It's more like a hand resting on your shoulder, asking gently, does this still fuel your quest? And if you pause even briefly, Sagittarius, you'll hear the answer echoing in the quiet parts of you, because you already know you've outgrown something. Maybe it's a connection, a version of yourself, or a role you've long carried. It's not weakness that makes it hard to let go. It's the memory of beauty, the sweetness that once made it meaningful. But true growth, as the sky teaches us, never happens without stepping beyond the landscape you've already explored. And when the Eight of Cups rises into your path, Sagittarius, it does so not as an ending, but as a sacred turning. It's a quiet invitation to begin walking toward where your heart can finally soar. Stepping away from something you once cherished isn't a betrayal. It's one of the highest forms of love, because releasing what no longer fits makes room for your soul to stretch and for others to find where they truly belong as well. This is the moment when emotional wisdom ripens. When you realize you're no longer someone who tolerates what feels empty. You're not here to force harmony or carry burdens that have long expired. You're being asked to move toward what truly nourishes you now, even if you can't yet see what that looks like on the horizon. And that's more than okay. Clarity doesn't always come before the choice. Often, it's the choice itself that unlocks the clarity. Energetically, this is how the law of attraction moves. You cannot receive what's next while clinging tightly to what's already done. Every time you keep saying yes to something you've outgrown, you're signaling to the universe that you're not ready to bloom. But the moment you say no with love, with calm, with self-trust, you open space. You shift your vibration. You become a match for what's been quietly waiting to meet you. Letting go doesn't always need a grand gesture. It can be subtle and sacred, like saying no to the coffee date that leaves you drained, or turning off your screen when your body needs stillness more than one more task. It can look like telling the truth that the belief you've been upholding doesn't feel like yours anymore. Sometimes letting go is as honest and tender as no longer needing to prove your worth, and finally knowing you're already enough. There's power in surrender, not as a form of defeat, but as an act of trust. It's what happens when you release your grip and place the weight into hands larger than your own. Life has its own rhythm, and when you stop resisting, you begin to move with that rhythm instead of against it. Many fear that resting means falling behind, but in truth, it's within the pause that guidance speaks the loudest. It's in your stillness that you realign. That's why today I invite you to make space not just in your planner, but in your spirit. You may be surprised how quickly life responds when you stop clutching what your soul has already released. That message you've been waiting for, that breakthrough, that next chapter. It finds you faster when there's room to land. Say this now, not as a hope, but as a steady truth. I release what no longer restricts me, and I welcome what is meant for me now. Say it gently. Say it again tomorrow. Let it root itself inside you. And Sagittarius, letting go is never just an ending. It's a return to who you are, without the old pressure, a return to clarity, to breath, to the truer shape of your becoming. Change doesn't always announce itself with noise. Sometimes it begins with a soft tug in the chest, a quiet unrest that whispers, there must be more than this. And you're right to feel it because the energy around you is shifting fast like an impending liftoff. It feels as if the answer has already been written. The door already cracked open, the blessing already on its way, but it's waiting for you to reach out and receive. When we talk about a storm of fortune, we don't mean luck that comes and goes. This is alignment in motion. When your inner readiness finally matches the opportunities the universe has long been trying to send. But here's the truth. The wheel has already begun to move. It won't pause. This isn't passive energy. It's alive, urging you to step in. You can choose to meet it or let it pass and circle back another time. But the moment is active, and it's asking for your presence now. That's why the signs are becoming louder. A dream that lingers after waking. A conversation that cuts deeper than small talk. A message or offer that lands the moment you were thinking about shifting course. These aren't coincidences, they're confirmations. And while your mind may try to explain them away, your body, your instincts already know. Your soul always hears truth before your mind finds words for it. That's why I invite you now, Sagittarius, to listen not to your fear, but to your breath, your body, your quiet knowing. Fear will always try to keep you in what's familiar, but intuition, it leads you gently into the unknown with a sense of quiet adventure. Trust the signal that feels open, not the one that clenches. In the next 3 days, the energy will move more freely than usual. You may find yourself more attuned to the colors, textures, and sounds around you. Let that heightened sensitivity guide you home to what calms you. Colors, in particular, aren't just visual, they're vibrational. They carry frequencies that help anchor your energy into alignment. Deep indigo or purple brings philosophical depth, a calming balm that supports your vision, especially if you've been dimming your light to fit smaller spaces. Surrounding yourself with this shade can ease the tension in your mind and gently coax your words forward. Golden tones, warm and full-bodied, awaken your receiving center, not just for wealth, but for the kind of abundance that includes unrestricted travel, respect, trust, and the ease of being truly free. Let it remind you that receiving is not greed, it's grace. And then there's fiery red or orange, bright, luminous, powerful as morning sun. It acts like a catalyst drawing in inspired action and high-frequency courage. Even lighting a red or orange candle during your morning reflection can shift the way your whole day feels. But all of this light, all this energy, your body must be ready to hold it. If you're stretched too thin, scattered, or burnt out, you might miss the very thing you've been asking for simply because there's no room for it to land. That's why tending to yourself isn't luxury. It's preparation. Start your mornings with just 10 minutes of stillness or breath work. Not to escape, but to return. Make it your route. Even the support of simple nutrients like B vitamins or magnesium can ease the noise in your nervous system, especially if you've been stuck in decision fatigue or emotional exhaustion. And this week, one of the most profound things you can offer yourself is the quiet act of journaling. No pressure, no perfect sentences, just 2 columns on a page, what you're ready to release and what you're ready to receive. Naming those things creates a powerful bridge between thought and manifestation. It clears the fog. It tells the universe, I'm not waiting, I'm choosing. Sagittarius, your season of change isn't coming. It's already here. The real question is not whether you're ready, but whether you'll say yes when the blessing appears at your door. And it will. And when it does, may you recognize it as the answer to a prayer you stopped speaking out loud long ago. Not all awakenings happen in silence. Sometimes the most powerful transformations begin inside you quietly, but ripple outward in ways you may never witness. Sagittarius, when you choose to walk away from what no longer nourishes your spirit, when you lean into the unseen rhythm of your path, you don't just change your life. You become a silent signal for others seeking their own way. They'll watch the way you weather the changes, the way you steady yourself through uncertainty, the way you keep moving with grace even when everything inside you trembles without needing to explain. You become a lighthouse simply by being present, simply by walking your truth. That presence, quiet and sure, speaks volumes. It tells a story of courage, of trust, of deep and lasting realignment. You don't need to broadcast it. You don't need to prove a thing. Just by showing up each day with a little more softness and a little more self-honor, you become the mirror someone else has been searching for. They'll look at you and think, if Sagittarius can do it, maybe I can too. That's the ripple of real healing. It's never just yours alone. When you stop settling, when you choose love and that respects you, when your boundaries become sacred instead of negotiable, you model something rare. Quiet strength, quiet worth, quiet integrity. And integrity, unlike the illusion of perfection, is something you can actually touch. It's what happens when you keep coming back to yourself, even after you've drifted or disconnected. This returning again and again is one of the most powerful things you can offer the world. Raising your frequency through awareness, gentleness, and choice creates a silent invitation for others to do the same. It transforms your presence without needing you to explain a thing. And that's what makes your energy magnetic. It reminds me of something beautifully simple. Miracles are often woven by ordinary people doing deeply intentional things, and most of the time, they don't even realize how far the ripples reach until much later. Sagittarius, you may never fully know how your growth changes those around you, but trust that it does. That colleague who finally speaks their mind. That friend who sets a boundary. The stranger who read your words and felt less alone. These aren't accidents, they're echoes of your quiet courage. Staying humble matters, yes, but don't confuse humility with invisibility. You weren't meant to disappear. You were meant to live out loud in your own real way. And being real is far more powerful than being flawless. You don't need to have it all together. You just need to be present with what's true and keep choosing what aligns with your deeper values. That is the quiet revolution you carry. In this next season, others may turn to you for wisdom, for comfort, or simply for your calming presence. Don't feel pressure to have the perfect answer. Instead, offer your grounded steadiness. Show that it's possible to begin again, even when the road is uncertain. You're not here to fix the whole world, but by choosing to live rooted in truth, softened by grace and open to hope, you become the kind of presence through which healing begins to flow naturally. You may not see the results right away, but you'll feel the lightness in your body, a new ease in your steps, a deeper sense of resonance in your relationships. This is what real transformation feels like when it's not forced. So if it seems like something sacred is awakening within you, it is. If others are sensing the shift in your energy, it's because they are. Let it happen. Let yourself be witnessed, not as someone with all the answers, but as someone willing to stay open. And that, Sagittarius, is the quiet legacy you're already living into. If there's one truth I hope stays with you, it's this. Your life doesn't transform just because a message says it will. It changes the moment you say yes. Not a half-hearted, hesitant yes, but a steady, rooted yes that rises from your own readiness. The universe is always tuned in, but it moves when you do. And right now, it's holding open a door that only you can walk through. No one else can step into your becoming for you. No one can make you let go of what you've outgrown or reach for what your soul's been calling in. That's yours. That's sacred. And while destiny never waits for convenience, it always honors true readiness. And if you've stayed with me all the way to this moment, Sagittarius, then something deep inside of you is already leaning toward change. You've heard the quiet pull. You've felt the stir beneath the surface. The only question now is, will you follow where it's leading? Choosing faith over fear doesn't mean having everything figured out. It simply asks you to trust that what's leaving isn't punishment. It's preparation that what's arriving is not a random twist of fate, but a mirror of the healing and strength you've already cultivated. If you step forward now, not with force, but with quiet purpose, everything begins to shift. The energy clears, The signs line up, the people, moments, and resources that fell far away begin to find you with surprising ease. But to claim what's next, you must be willing to release who you were when this all began. You have to loosen the grip, stop trying to control the outcome, and open your hands to receive. And that begins with one internal choice: to stop hesitating and instead start living like someone who truly believes they deserve what's good. So let me ask you now, with love but clarity, what are you still holding on to that no longer reflects who you've become? What would it feel like to set it down? Not with anger or resistance, but with wisdom, with love, with grace. What if you started living like someone who knows blessings don't just happen, they align? You've come so far to arrive here, and now everything in this message has brought you to one simple threshold, not a moment demanding perfection, but one that calls for your honest yes. If something in you has felt recognized during this message, if your chest softened, your breath deepened, or a phrase echoed in your bones, that's your confirmation. You didn't stumble upon this. You were drawn here because your spirit already knew it was time. That August 23rd isn't just a day on a calendar. It's a turning point that carries sacred weight. So before we close this space, I invite you to speak these words aloud, not as a hope, but as a grounded declaration. Place your right hand on your heart, your left over your belly. Breathe with care. Let yourself slow down. And when you're ready, affirm these words 3 times. I am ready to release the old. I welcome the good fortune with truth, relief, and expanded vision. Let those words settle into your body like seeds falling into fertile soil. Let them take root. Let them change the way you move, the way you choose, the way you rise, starting now. And if this message stirred something awake in you, anchor that shift by speaking it into the comments. Write, I choose freedom. I am ready for the storm of good luck on August 23rd. Not just for me to see, but so the universe can witness it too. Thank you truly for spending this time and presence, for every moment of listening, for every word shared, for every bit of your energy that continues to carry this sacred work forward into the lives of those who need it. So stay close, Sagittarius, because when tomorrow comes, you may cry, but not from breaking. You'll cry because something larger than you has caught you, lifted you, and placed something beautiful in your hands that you never expected. And when it arrives, you'll know without a doubt that you were meant for it all along.